All right, I'm Thomas. I'm also presenting with David, Ryan, and Peter. And the topic of our research project is generative AI, the focus on the technology, the ethics, and the future implications. So to start off, generative AI has experienced significant growth in recent years and has applications to a multitude of domains and industries. With this research project, we dive into the history of generative AI, a technical background of various techniques used in generative AI, developments in the field such as the emergence of ChatGPT, and case studies of generative AI in 3 different industries, which are education, healthcare, and advertising. And ultimately, through a discussion of the ethical and legal implications of generative AI, we find that its capabilities are vast and exciting, but still need additional refining and regulation before they are able to be fully trusted. Finally, we look to the future of generative AI and consider policy changes that can help create a safe future in this field. And to touch on a little bit of the technical background of generative AI, it has evolved very rapidly with early milestones found in models like Markov chains and Bayesian networks. And today, 2 of the most powerful architectures in generative AI are generative adversarial networks and variational autoencoders. And to look at the technical specifics of these architectures, GANs involve adversarial training with a generator model and a discriminator model, and VAEs use a probabilistic framework with an autoencoder architecture and latent space. Additionally, advances in hardware such as GPUs, TPUs, and ASICs have greatly increased generative AI's growth and capabilities.
Yes, so moving on to kind of more focus on case studies. First, with generative AI in education, obviously with what we've seen in ChatGPT's capabilities in completing various tasks, ranging from essays to coding, school systems, have been doing their best to ensure the integrity and the effectiveness of their teaching. Unfortunately, we've seen certain technologies such as GPT-0 prove not effective in, their ability to detect the use of AI by students. But I also think it's really important to realize that educators need to give their students some level of exposure and some level of education regarding how to use these new technologies, because when these students are starting to enter the workforce, this type of technology will still be very prominent.
Our second case study takes a look at the healthcare industry and 2 startups that are hoping to introduce generative AI to medicine. Those 2 startups are Abridge AI and Syntegra. Abridge AI's platform takes transcripts of conversations between doctors and patients and converts it into abbreviated notes on the appointment. However, concerns exist about the accuracy of their algorithms and the privacy implications of storing such highly sensitive information. Syntegra is creating synthetic data with their generative AI software that medical researchers are using to fill in the gaps in existing data sets in order to speed up the research process and make sure their data sets accurately and proportionally represent people of different backgrounds. Our final case study takes a look at how generative AI is being used in the advertising industry to personalize advertisements to individual consumers. Adthos is offering software to its customers that can create advertisements for radio and podcasts by synthesizing audio recordings of scripts using its library of music, sound effects, and voices.
And finally, we're going to look at some legal and ethical implications, as well as what might happen next over the next 5, 10, 20 years of AI development. So 3 issues we highlighted here. One is the ownership of the vast amounts of training data that are needed. So we're seeing companies like Twitter, Reddit charge companies like Google and Microsoft and OpenAI who are training these large language models for access to their data. So there's questions around what's creative and protected and what's not. There's questions around biases and ensuring that AI models represent an accurate variance of viewpoints so that the democratic process can continue to work and be exposed to not just one viewpoint. Then there's also concerns, particularly with something like the healthcare example that David gave, that the data in both prompt and training data must be kept secure because AI is basically synonymous with data. And then where do we go from here? It's been pretty stunning. GPT-1 was released in mid 2018, and it's been stunning to see the growth on there. You can't even see size of the training data set for GPT-1 on this graph, but it's up to, thousands of gigabytes, and the number of parameters has gone from 117 million to now estimated at 1 trillion for GPT-4. So these are kind of, the core power of the model. And then we also have potential fundamental changes in how the algorithms are based. So most of them today are based on transformers, but we could see more innovations like transfer learning, which should allow for more human-like text, multimodal models, and even something like self-driving. That's our project, and thank you.